Hey folks, welcome to DevSwarm. So in this video, we're going to go over another orchestration pattern that's possible using DevSwarm called the review stack pattern. So if you watched the previous video where we worked with the plan do pattern, which resulted in a planning workspace that had an integration workspace that had these implementation workspaces, you saw that the planning workspace was able to make sure that the design stayed cohesive. The integration workspace was able to evaluate the work of the implementation workspaces and then merge them in as needed, dealing with merge conflicts and ensuring that the codes maintain the quality that we wanted to see. The implementation workspaces allowed the author, you, to do spot checks, see the code changes in smaller chunks, and just essentially keep on top of things in an organized way. But ultimately, all the work ends up going into this integration workspace. And the reason that's valuable is that you are able to then test the work functionally. You can run it here, make sure all the different parts work together as expected. But in this example here, in this visualization, we have a 3,000 line PR. It is, that's not small. Ideally, you can digest them in smaller chunks, right? That make sense. And so the review stack pattern is a strategy that we use to make it so that large swaths of work that we get done can be broken down into a sane set of workspaces to review individually and safely be able to approve and merge. That's the thing that's challenging. If you keep a flat structure, if you want to approve and then merge, it can impact all the ones up and down the stream and cause a lot of CI churn. And so the review stack pattern says, take your integration workspace, make a sibling workspace that starts under the planning workspace, and that's not captured in this visual, and then replay the commits in a stacked pattern. And so the idea is that the AI does its best to find the right seams, and it replays the commits, and it says, all right, these commits make sense to capture this chunk of the review. These commits make sense to capture this chunk of the review, etc., until you get to the very leaf node, which has the fully functional work. And so you are still doing just true code review. If you have changes that you want to propose, you can apply them either directly to the integration workspace and wipe out the review stack and then rebuild it, or you can propose them right in the review stack. Use your discretion. Generally speaking, I try to kind of summarize all the changes that need to happen and have them communicate back to the integration workspace, who can then apply the changes. You can test it, and then based on that, figure out, all right, are we going to rebuild the review stack or not? The aim with the review stack is that it's distributed amongst your colleagues. You can send them a PR that's only 600 lines, right? And it won't be miserable for them. Okay, so that's the review stack pattern summarized. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that integration workspace that we built earlier, and I'm going to apply this pattern to it, and we'll see what it looks like in practice. And so here it is. I cleaned out all the implementation workspaces. You can see this is a 5,800 line change here with about 1,000 deletions. And so it's big, right? It's got the UI, it's got infra, it's got the server, it's got a bunch of stuff in it, right? So if you were to sit down and review it, that one take is you just do it, right? But maybe there's a better way. And so we're going to explore that now. And so I provided a prompt describing what a review stack is. This is guidance that we can offer at DevSwarm as well. But generally speaking, telling the orchestration workspace, since it's the one that's done all the actual management and stuff, what it is that I expect it to do, and then answer some questions, and then it'll replay the commits and make the workspaces. With DevSwarm, a given workspace can make workspaces in arbitrary parts of the structure. Generally speaking, they default to making children, but if you explicitly tell it, no, it's going to have this parent, and then you're going to do this, 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 and this, it can do that. So we can see here, review stack is starting to build itself. Essentially what happened is that the integration workspace determined the commits to break at with each of them, sent that up to the planning workspace as a table, and now the planning workspace is instructed the review stacks as to what the range is, and each one of these guys is going to build their child and match that commit range. until the final one has the fully completed work. And that's the one that your colleagues then would be able to check out to test functionally. And then as changes are made, you can either propagate them up and down, which is probably my recommendation for the most part. If there's big changes that need to happen in the direction of everything, then that could mean that we revisit the integration stack. But ultimately, this is the way that we try to make code review more sane in the AI age, because it's challenging to have massive PRs. So this is that table that I mentioned before. And so it has the commits and it has the deltas. And so we're still going to have some non-trivial deltas to work with, but it's definitely better than a 7,000 line change to work through, right? And each of them will have a specific theme or direction that they're going. In fact, actually, we could have had it smaller, but there were just ones that made more sense to have together than it was to have them be independent of each other. So this is pretty fun. It's made every workspace in the review stack here. And this last one here will be the one that if you need to functionally test, you check this one out and run it. And that's how you functionally test the work. But otherwise, Claude was able to, have each child check out its commits and then inform its child to do the same. Doing the same pattern with creating pull requests. I started up here. I told it, oh, you need to create a pull request so we can review your work, and then propagate that down to your kid, so on and so forth. And they're rolling. The only thing I'll call out is that Claude Code's auto mode, depending on what AI you're using, but it's auto mode. It can get hung up on some of these things. My Claude settings are reasonably permissive, but you still run into a button. That's why you don't get to just check out. You are still part of the engine, and you are ensuring it's chugging along, right? But this was pretty smooth. It totally just laid out everything that I was hoping it would, and it's creating PRs as it goes. So this leaf one, this is the one that you would run. These ones they all pass their tests. They all do their thing. They all have a sane theme as to what it is that they are capturing. And while it is, there are some smaller ones, there are some bigger ones, they are more manageable than reviewing the entire, including this guy, 8,000, 9,000 lines of code change. Now to review these in DevSwarm, you can go into review mode. And because the PRs are linked up, you can review the changes right in here, improve, request changes, leave comments, etc. And do the work in here, right? And so you would tell Claude, hey, go check out that whole PR chain from my coworker and create all those workspaces just like they are from my colleagues so that I can review all of them. And it would pull them all, it would create all the workspaces, check them all out, start running tests, everything for you. This is the review stack pattern. And so what are the benefits here? If you approve this one, you can merge it. It's got one-way merge. It's not going to create conflicts. It is what it is. If you have changes that you want to make, if there's requested changes, if they're small, if they make sense, you can make them right in the PR and then tell it to propagate the changes on down to its siblings. Whatever merge conflicts emerge, you handle with AI. There is no ambiguity in the order of the merging. And also your release branches, your main branch, whatever, you can have branch protections and stuff, but you can still enjoy the ability to merge up to here, right? So you can merge everything into here, and that means that you don't have long-running approvals that get stale. There's no you merge one PR and then suddenly there are merge conflicts for everything else, right? You resolve the merge conflicts in its child, and then that'll propagate on to the other ones. It's in terms of the different approaches to handling code review in the age of AI, we found this to be pretty effective. We've had some massive features go in, and the way that we stayed sane was that we built these hierarchies, and the team was able to go in, review, request changes, etc. And then once everything was good to go, just merge it all on up and we're set. You even have a means by which you can do a double validation on the review stack, where you can have the integration stack go and inspect these and make sure they all match up with what it did. It's pretty great. It's not bad at all. So yep, that's the review stack in practice. I hope this is helpful, and I look forward to chatting with you folks again.